The first thing I teach every single one of my students is how to properly warm up. And this is such a critical part of our golf swing that we often overlook. Now, it's not just how do we warm up before we hit a ball, it's how do we warm up to start our day. A lot of compensations arise because we spend so much time sitting behind a desk or driving in a car, 40+ hours a week for an entire career. Our body adapts to those bad positions, and then we ask it to swing a golf club, and of course, it's not going to work, and we're going to get hurt. So if we can develop a routine to develop a default of greatness, then we can play better golf at a moment's notice. And that's where the true meaning of mobility comes from. Mobility comes from the Latin mobilitas, meaning agility, speed, and the ability to change. It essentially means that we can go anywhere and perform at any time. So when we hear about people losing their mobility, that's exactly what it means. We can't get around, we can't perform the way that we used to. Now, mobility is the balance between flexibility and control, and it lives right in the middle. If we're too flexible, we can't control our body, and if we have too much control, we can't move around. As we get older, we lose our flexibility and our control, therefore we lose our mobility. We can't get around, we can't swing the club like we used to, and we become immobile. What mobility training does is it removes those restrictions that are preventing you from reaching your greatest potential. So when you go and you grab a golf club or whatever it is you're doing in life, you're ready to perform. Remove those limitations that are holding you back. You deserve to play great golf, and I'm going to teach you how. Now, before we get started, it's important to remember that I'm asking you, if you're serious about playing better golf, which if you're here right now watching this, I know you are, it's important that you go through this routine every morning and again before you hit a golf ball. This serves two purposes. The first one is as a morning body prep, it sets the tone for how you're going to move during the rest of the day. It's going to help you combat the office lifestyle where you're sitting behind a desk or driving in a car or traveling on an airplane. It teaches your body that you want to move beautifully. And when we can reinforce great movement throughout the day, you better believe it's going to affect your golf swing. Secondly, even if you've done the warm-up routine in the morning, I want you to do it again before you swing a golf club. This acts as a pre-golf priming sequence, and it triggers your brain to talk to your body and say, you know what? Today, we're going to play great golf. I have all my students do this routine every single day, and those that do it without fail see the greatest success. Make a habit out of greatness. Throughout this warm-up, as well as in many of my exercises, we're going to use a technique that I call power stretching. Power stretching is simply putting a joint into a position where it can't move any farther, what we call its end range, and then we use the muscles surrounding that joint to trick it into relaxing, and that improves our range of motion and our flexibility. When our range of motion is improved, we then have a window of opportunity to retrain better movement. At that point, your body is going to be craving you to input good information. We're going to improve that range of motion. Your body's not going to know how to handle it at first, but if you tell it right after that you want to move beautifully, you want to have good posture, you want to prioritize your mobility, it will listen. It will absorb it. However, if after improving your range of motion, you go sit in a car, you lay down on the couch, and you put yourself into bad postures, your body's going to think that's what you're trying to do, and it's not going to create a default of greatness. It's going to create a default of compensation. So the power warm-up, as well as all my exercises, is going to give us that window of opportunity to create a default of greatness. Let's get started. Let's start by grabbing our forearm by our wrist and performing 5 hand circles in each direction. You may feel some pop and click and grinding. That's okay. The wrist is a very mobile joint, and we need to free it up. And then we're going to go and do the same thing with our feet. Point the toes down, big circles, going 5 each direction. It's not about the speed in which we do this exercise. It's about the range of motion that we're able to develop. Next, we're going to take some fingers. We're going to press down on the top of our shoulder in between the shoulder itself and the neck. keeping your other arm straight. We're going to perform 5 big arm circles backwards and then 5 big arm circles forwards before we switch sides. Now, where exactly you push down changes each time that you go through this. You're going to feel these tissues move around and break up, and it's up to you to play around with what needs attention the most. I like to start with 4 fingers, but you may find yourself moving into 2 or 1 for more acute pressure. Next, we're going to take your right arm, reach across your body, take your left hand, hook it on your elbow. Your right arm is going to push away from your body, but your left hand won't let it go anywhere. Now, pushing away, we're going to slowly raise up and bring it back down. We're going to do this 2 times on each side. Again, your arm and your hand are fighting each other. Your arm is pushing away, your hand won't let it go anywhere. That gets the shoulder, especially the back and the upper side, but we now need to handle the front with an exercise called a flip down. Chest stays tall, butt and core stay engaged. Arms come up, we're going to flip our hands down in the bottom position. Flipping our hands backwards up, flip it on down. Nice and aggressive, but don't let your chest collapse. 20 of these. Okay, now it's time to get the spine moving a little bit. We're going to bend down, touch the toes, reach up toward the sky, and lean backwards. If you're thinking, Blaine, I can't touch my toes, just go as far as you can. That's absolutely okay, and it'll improve over time. Going down, as I reach up, I lean back, I give my butt a squeeze. Squeezing the butt is very important. If you don't, you're going to put pressure on your spine. If you squeeze your butt, you're going to use your muscles to stabilize your body, which is really important. Next, we're going to introduce a little bit of side bend. We're going to take one of our arms. I like to start with my right, place it behind my back, take my left hand, place it on my elbow. If you can't get into this exact position, you can modify as needed. The whole idea here is we're going to get this whole side of our body to stretch out. Now, just like earlier when we did our deltoid arm raises, we're going to do something similar here. Your right elbow is going to drive up while your left hand keeps it down. You're going to feel a big stretch on the side. Now, lean your whole body. Take a big breath. Hold that breath. Squeeze that breath. Feel the ribs start to open up. After about 5 seconds, exhale and go a little bit farther. We're doing this 2 times on each side. Drive the elbow up. Lean to the side. Big breath. Hold it. Squeeze it. Let it go. 2 times per each side. Great. Now it's time to rotate. You may have done some trunk twists before. Mine are a little bit different. If you have good knees, you want to keep your legs pretty straight, knees locked out. If, however, you have knee problems, bend them. I don't want to put stress on your knees if we don't need to. You can still get good flexibility in the thoracic and cervical spine without having to worry about the lower body. What do I mean by this? We're going to trunk twist side to side. Again, if your knees are good, we're going to plant your foot and twist into it. If your knees are not good, you're going to keep them soft and then keep twisting to avoid excess pressure. Now, depending on how well your neck turns, your head can either go with your body or it can stay looking forward. If you have poor mobility in your neck, I encourage you to let your head turn with your body, and over time, we'll be able to keep it stationary so that your body can turn around your head. Very important for the golf swing. Now it's time to go downstairs. Lower body hip work. Fantastic. This is going to test your balance, but it's going to be a fantastic exercise for opening up your hips. Anybody who's seen Happy Gilmore knows it's all in the hips. All right, we're going to balance on our left leg. Take your right leg, bring it up, give it a nice big hug. We're then going to send that leg behind us. Torso stays upright, butt stays squeezed, core is engaged. Tuck your belt buckle into your belly button. Lower yourself down. Do not lean forward. Butt squeezed at all times to protect your back. When you get as far down as you can, if your body will let you, we're going to twist into this front leg, hold for a few seconds, return to the center, explode up, try to hold your balance, give your leg a pull, and repeat 4 times on one side before switching. So let's do the other side. Balance on your right leg. Knee comes up, give it a nice pull, send it on back. Torso's upright, butt squeeze, tuck the belt buckle into the belly button, lower your hips down, twist into your side if your body will let you. Okay, let's see it from the side as well. I'm going to do the right leg. Pull it up, send it back, tuck the belt buckle into the belly button, butt squeeze, leg push back, drop the hips, and twist. Again, 4 times per side before switching. We're in the last stretch. We're going to start by balancing on our left leg. It starts just the same. Right leg comes up, give it a pull. This time, we're going sideways. I'm going to drop down into a squat. One of my legs stays straight. The leg that's staying straight, I'm going to push straight down through the ground. I'm going to hold this for a few seconds. After a few seconds, if my body will let me, I'm going to start to turn my foot so that I'm going from flat-footed to on the inside edge, back and forth. Again, always pushing down. If I can do that a few times, I'm then going to keep my heel on the ground and do what I call a windshield wiper. And we're going to then explode back up, give it a pull, and repeat 4 times on each side, and then we're ready to go. We're ready to start our day. We're going to feel like we have better posture. We're standing tall, hips are tucked under, shoulders are back, head is neutral. We feel really, really good. If we're ready to hit a golf ball, guess what? Your brain is now talking to your body. It's firing on all cylinders. So when you go to swing your golf club, it's communicating very fast, and you're going to be able to perform at the highest level. Now, if you've just done this and you're ready to hit a golf ball, my one word of caution, do not just jump into a driver. Yes, your body's communicating on all cylinders, but again, we have this window of opportunity that we need to prioritize. So what I like to do, after warming up, I grab a wedge. I'm going to start with a few little chip shots just to get my body talking. Then I'll move into some pitch shots. Then I'll move into full swing, and then I'll work my way through the bag. It may only take you 20 or 30 balls, but I promise you it'll be well worth the effort. So there you have it, the power warm-up. You're going to get very familiar with this routine as you're going to be doing it every single morning and before you play golf, and I hope you'll be playing a lot of golf.